in a
How
nice
excited I
quiet
am to have
house.
this.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
enjoying
It's
the
so good to
quiet and
see
having
you.
time. And so good to see you too. So good to see you.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video was because of the whole spiritual journey that we've both been on these past few months. And I want to start by just saying, for me, because I know your journey is very different, and we're going to go into
Yeah.
your journey. But for me, it really struggled. I struggled so much with this at the start because I was brought up with a Christian background. You know, I went to church all the time, so I had the idea of God in my head and
Yeah.
Jesus and judgment, and you've got to live a certain way and follow these rules, and you find God in a church, and you've got to go through a vicar or a pastor or whatever it is. So when like the idea of spirituality and the idea that there's this higher energy that we can connect to, and we're all connected, and it's already inside of us, we don't need to look external to us. It literally, that was one of my
Yeah.
cognitive
Mind blowing.
dissonance at its finest. Yeah, you know, it just brings everything that you've thought up until this point into question. It's like, whoa, I've believed
Yes.
this all of my life. Not that I was a religious person, because it never fully resonated, but it was just because it was so ingrained.
Yes.
So that was quite a journey for me. And I just want to say that because I know a lot of people might be listening to this who might not be spiritual or religious or whatever label you want to put on it. But all I'm going to say is just be open, because
Yes.
when you learn to understand how it shows up in your body, then you can start connecting the dots to find the actual truth for yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm going to pass over to you, Dawn, because you had a very different experience when you was younger. You had
Yes.
yeah, tell us about your gift
Yeah.
when you were younger.
So when I was younger, my family thought there was something wrong with me, because I used to call them funny feelings, and to describe it, it didn't feel good. So the atmosphere around me would change, and I'd feel like I was disconnected from my body, and my mind was somewhere else. And I'd have visions that didn't make any sense to me at all. And it would last for probably 3 to 10 minutes. They were all different, and I'd literally zone out. So if anybody was around me, I'd literally be staring into space. I could answer them if they were asking if I was okay, but it sounded like somebody else's voice, like I was somewhere else. It sounded like in the distance, if that
Wow.
makes sense. So it's as though I went somewhere. And I was about 7 when it started, and I remember saying to my mum, I keep having these funny feelings, and I keep seeing this little boy running across the playground wearing a white belt, and I don't know what it means. And my mum's like, there's nobody in the playground, what are you talking about? And it went on and on. And normally, after a funny feeling, I was having them daily. I'd need to go and lie down. I'd need to get my energy back. I'd be thoroughly drained, and I'd feel like the atmosphere had changed, like I was somewhere different. So mum's like, there's something wrong. I think there's something wrong with you. We're going to take you to the doctors. We're going to get it looked at. And I ended up going to Oxford, where they did, I think it's called an EEG, where they put the probes on your mind and they look at brain waves. And the doctor said there's nothing wrong with her. I can't pick anything up at all. So there's nothing to worry about. But have you considered extrasensory perception? And my mum's like, don't be ridiculous, and laughed it off. I didn't know what that was. And I just continued living with these feelings, not talking about them and trying to suppress them, trying to bring myself back when I felt myself go, because that's what it felt like. And it lasted until I was about in my early 30s. So they reduced and they happened less and less, but they stopped completely in my early 30s. And I always wondered, is there something in this? Am I getting messages? Am I receiving? You know, nobody else has experienced this. Nobody else talks about this. Is it something? Is it a gift that I've pushed away? And I felt quite bad that if it was a gift and I've pushed it away, how ungrateful is that? So I was curious. And then when I signed up for belief coding, I had a session with you. And my biggest thing was to get back in touch with my intuition, to try and find out if I can. I don't know what I wanted to do, but connect to my team, because I always felt that there was more than this. I always felt that there were people with me, there were people guiding me. The way my life has ran We all have difficult times. I've always landed on my feet, but that hasn't been a belief. I always land on my feet. My belief used to be, God, life's so hard. I'll always have to work hard.
Do you remember
I'll never have any
that?
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to land on my feet every time was kind of telling me somebody's looking after me. I am being guided, and somehow I'm listening and picking up on cues, but I want to delve deeper. I want to have that connection, and I want to say thank you, and I want to see how far I can go. And from that session, everything started to change.
Do you remember when we had that session? Because I just want to take us back there, because it was almost like the second me and you saw each other, because we was on the same WhatsApp chat, weren't we, when we were training together? Because just to explain, if anyone's watching this, belief coding is a modality where you can go in and release the energetic blocks and the emotions and things that are trapped inside us that come out in certain personality traits. And so we was, you know, I was doing my work, Dawn, you were doing your work. We didn't know each other before this, and we was in the same training group, and we came onto this Zoom to train on each other. And it was just like, I just got this feeling that we'd known each other forever. And a lot of people experience this. Now, we've opened up our minds now enough to be like, oh, past lives, what does that look like? Different realms, different timelines. But that might be a little bit too much for some people to, you know, resonate with at the moment. That's fine. Yeah. But I remember that call that we had, that Zoom chat, because you was in a place and you questioned like everything going on in the world. There was so much chaos and all of this stuff. And I was like just speaking my truth, because I was really standing in my power, and you know, and I just, that just kind of transformed things.
Yeah, it did. I was living in fear. So everything that was on the news, I was absorbing it. Everything that was going on that I had no control of, I was allowing it to consume me, and I was worrying about the bills. I was worrying about money, work, anything I could worry about, I'd find it. Yeah, that's how my mind was working at the time. And if I'd got nothing to worry about, I'd worry about what was coming next. That was the state I was in. And it was an awful state to be in. It was just horrendous.
It's like an addiction though, isn't it? It's like your body, your chemicals in your body are used to that. So it stays with that, and it's just looking for more things to...
More things. And that's exactly what I did. As soon as a problem was solved, I'd look for the next one. And it's like, who wants to live like this? I don't want to live like this. And I certainly don't live like that anymore. And it was from working with you that put it into perspective. You've got no control over it. So what's the point? Don't waste your energy. Focus on what you can do. Focus on what you do want. Exactly. And that shift literally changed everything for me. I don't watch the news. If it's on in the background, I might glance at it, and I don't take any notice. I don't pay attention. When people come with the bad news stories, you know, doom and gloom on the morning school run, I'll try and flip it into a positive, because I want to focus on that positive and bring that into my life. I don't want to bring doom and gloom. I don't want to look for problems. I don't even want to look for solutions. I'm at a place now where I do feel divinely guided. The solutions just happen. I don't have to fix a problem. I don't have to look for a problem. I don't need a solution. I know that everything's okay.
I love it. I love it. I love it, because to get to that point where you are now, it is such. It's like for me in my life, like, where are you going to live? What are you going to do when you sell a house? I'm like, I'm living in flow, and I know the right doors are going to open in the exact right time for my highest good and the highest good of everyone around me. And I literally don't think about or worry about anything, because I trust so much. So what we're going to talk about next on is the next step, which is when Serena launched a modality called Beyond the Veil.
Yes.
And you saw it at the same time I saw it. I think we both saw the same advert online, and you signed up straight away, didn't you?
I did. It was like, I have to do this. It was like, I couldn't not do it. I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I need to do this.
So to explain, when we talk about Beyond the Veil, so when we look at the physical world, the physical realm, what we can see and what we can smell and touch and everything around us, beyond the veil, it's almost like you're lifting the veil to the non-physical, like what's out there that we don't see with our physical eyes and we don't feel with these five senses that we're told we have. And so beyond the veil, it kind of takes you to that point where you can explore that, and you can be open to the idea that you've got your guides and your spirit team, and you can ask some questions. What's my purpose? Why am I here? What's going to happen with this? And whatever comes into your mind. And I just remember, you're gonna have to tell us briefly what happened, but I just remember your voice note you left me. I think it was back in March, And
It
you
was
were
March.
absolutely buzzing. You was like, Laura, I can't say this to anybody else in my world because they will think I'm off my head if I said any of this stuff.
But they would. Yeah. And I used to be quite secretive about the things that I was looking into and interested in. I'm very open now. It blew my mind. It absolutely did. And I did get to meet my spirit team, my spirit guides. Mine were all angels in the first one. It was all angels. I was given my purpose. I was given a glimpse of the future because I've got a disabled 5-year-old, so he's autistic, non-verbal, and a risk taker. He has no sense of danger whatsoever. And one of my questions was, will he have any independence when he's older? Will he speak? And not only did they answer the question, but they gave me a glimpse of where we will be, what he will say, and how I will feel when it happens. And it's not too far in the future. And they also gave me a glimpse of a semi-independent life when he's older. They showed me him surfing and with a group of friends. And do you know, after that session, he did start to say more words, so not sentences, but more words. Our connection has been better and I've understood him more. I've had more empathy. I can feel how he feels. So I know when to back off and when to enforce, and you know, I know how to be on his terms, but with guidance to keep him safe, rather than trying to force and enforce my standards, my rules. Because he's an absolute gift, and he knows more than what anybody would ever give him credit for. And I say this for any neurodivergent child. What I've learned on this journey is just mind-blowing. And they are so connected. They are so gifted.
That's because they don't conform to our 3D world, Dawn. They don't conform to these rules and regulations here.
Yeah, they see things differently. They feel things differently. And I learn from him.
Yeah.
I communicate with him. I learn from him. I understand him without the spoken word. Which is just amazing. And so Beyond the Veil just opened me up to this realm, this dimension. And I've had several sessions, met different guides, but I can also now channel and connect to my team whenever I want to. I couldn't before, but I can call them in, ask them questions, ask for guidance. And as long as I follow the guidance and I trust them, they keep giving me more. It's when you let the doubt creep in and you start to question it, they tend to withdraw, because they want you to listen, and they'll only ever guide you for your greatest good. They won't guide you anywhere that you wouldn't want to go or you wouldn't be safe. However, you might have to feel uncomfortable at first. You might have to do something you wouldn't normally do, and step out of that comfort zone. And when you do, they applaud and they give you more. And an example of stepping out of my comfort zone, I thought everybody would think I was mad. And they kept urging me, post it on your own Facebook profile, let everybody know, what have you got to hide? And I'm like, I can't. And it kept coming and coming, and I'm like, I am. And I did. And I didn't have an expectation or an outcome. I just did it, and I continue to do so now. Because I haven't got anything to prove. I'm here to support people who want to learn. I'm here to connect with people who want to connect and take them on a journey, but I'm not here to prove anything. You can prove that for yourselves by being open, is the advice I would give.
So let's go back to that first Beyond the Veil session that you had, and the activation and the gift that you came, because I was on the phone to you after that and you were channeling information to me, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, ask them this, ask them that. And you connected to my guides for me, because at the time I wasn't seeing or hearing them. I was feeling
them.
I was like, Dawn, can you feel this? So elaborate.
So I was activated. So Angel Gabriel activated me in the first session, and I didn't actually know what it was, because he was just like, you've been activated. I didn't know what it was. I had a feeling it had to do with channeling, because Serena had already picked up on that before we started the session. And then after the session, and he said it was something to do with the heart as well. So opening the heart, this is where we connect. Oh, my screen's gone funny. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I can't see you. I don't know what's happened.
I can see you.
Can you see me? Bear with me a minute. Let me just try and find you. It's just completely just, I can just see me. Bear with me. Hang on.
If you go to your top
right, there?
Yeah, I'm here. The top right hand corner of your Zoom window, maybe you might see view.
Oh, it's doing an update, so it's took you off my screen. I am sorry.
Right. Just carry on. I'm still recording.
I will just carry on. Let me just see where I'm at. Bear with me. Okay, I'm just going to carry on, Laura.
Yeah.
So I did think it had something to do with channeling, and then random information would pop into my head, especially when I was talking to you, Laura. So I'd be talking to you, and then things would just come through that were relevant to the conversation we were having, and it was answering questions that you'd got. And then I connected to your guide, May. She introduced herself, and then she was giving messages and guidance. I'm just trying to think what happened next. And then they gave me...
You saw certain visions, didn't you, of the future, which we won't go into. We won't go into that, but it was like, oh my goodness, really? But you can kind of see how things are moving that way, because like you, I've just totally trusted this process and surrendered. You know, I've got my big visions for the future. I've got that big vision of the yacht in the Caribbean and having like retreats so I can help people step into their power and help people to understand that they can have massive goals as well. And you don't need to be limited by what we think is possible or what we think to work for and this, that, and the other. And that's my dream, to be able to basically to set the world financially free and help people to understand that they can create wealth outside of working and trading their time for money. And the visions that you were coming through with, Dawn, and the guidance, I was like, oh my goodness, this is mad. This is mental. And for me, it was a massive comfort as well, because you've just really helped me to step into that place of trust. Because again, when you talk, you know, people talk about channeling and people talk about getting messages from guides and spirits and angels and things like that. And you are the only person that has explained it in a way that I understand in that takeover.
Yeah, so it's not what you think it is, and it's very subtle to start with. So for me, it was just getting random information, just knowing things. Then it was being shown visions of possible future timelines. And what that means is, based on the decisions and choices you make, because you have free will, at the moment you're on the right track to achieve this possible timeline. If your decisions, choices change, or you stop trusting, you might not get to that timeline. It could change, or it will take you longer to get there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I started to get possible future timelines for other people. And I also started to feel different guides with me. So different sensations in my body would alert me to who it is that's coming through for me. Other people's guides, especially yours, has come through a lot. And channeling, they use metaphors, they use pictures, they use code. And when I first started, I'd write it down, look at it and think, where do I even start? So then I'd read it back, because I'd always make notes, and then I'd feel into it, and I'd find out for myself. I'd guess, what do I think it means? And that's coming from me. It's coming from within. I'm going to guess what it means. So I would guess what it means, and then I'd double check it. So symbols and things like that, I'd have a Google search to double check. Have I completely made this up, or is it coming from somewhere? I was spot on every time. I don't use Google anymore. I literally know what the symbols mean, because now one of my guides, Archaean, so he's a light being, he never spoke to me. It was always thoughts in my mind and visions. He now speaks to me. I hear his voice. So it's like talking to my best friend, and I can ask him a question, he'll answer it, or he'll say, not right now, or you'll find out later. But he will answer questions and give me specifics. So I don't need to be decoding metaphors or things like that with Archaean when he's coming through, when I'm channeling for people. So some of my other guides, I have to decipher it, but I know what they mean now, because I've done it so many times that I know what they mean, because I feel it. And it's more about the feeling.
This was a hang up for me for so long, because we're so trained, aren't we, in the school system and everything we do in our lives to be right or wrong. Like, You need that external validation. You're always looking. So at the beginning with me, I'm like, Dawn, can you check this? Dawn, will you ask this? Can you check in with my guide for this? I feel this, but can you check for me? Now that's me not trusting. That's me wanting you to validate for me, because I put my trust in you more than I put my trust in myself. But they want us to be able to trust ourselves. And it is, we have to make it up. And when you think about, well, I'm making that up or I'm imagining it, well, it is coming from somewhere, isn't it? Of course it's coming from somewhere. And if it's not coming from somewhere external to us, it's coming from us inside us. And that is the biggest thing for me, because it is so hard as a human, living this human experience, to relearn to trust ourselves. When all of our lives we've been told not to trust ourselves and put our trust in everything away from us.
Absolutely.
So that, for me, that's huge for us to step into. Now, the next thing I want to ask you, Dawn, is because, you know, people might be watching this and think, well, that's just a lot of woo-woo stuff, you know, how do you know any of it's even real? So give us some of your results, because some of the results that you've basically, you've created you've got downloaded a modality, a healing modality. So you will channel healing energy to people, distance, and you'll do that for 20 or 30 minutes, and then you get a whole range of
information
and that you pass to them. And I know that was difficult for you to start with, to have the courage to say some of these things to the people.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. Because so what happened was, it was after, I think it was my third Beyond the Veil, and it was just all angels everywhere. And leading up to my session, I kept seeing the word angel, angel Reiki, just everything angel, all in the physical. And I'm like, there's something in that. Maybe I need to learn angel Reiki. So I did this session. It was an angel, Adriana, that stepped forward. And basically told me I'm already attuned to work with angelic healing energy. I don't need to do a course. I don't need to learn it. I am just a channel. You need to trust us. We will come through with the healing. We will do whatever your client needs, and we will give messages of guidance that resonate and that client needs to hear, and you will pass that on. And I'm like, okay. So I came out of that session and I said, do I need to learn angelic Reiki? And they went, you can, but you don't need to, which often they say, because we've got free will. So I haven't learnt it. And I did a session with somebody and I sent this angelic healing for the first time. It did feel very powerful. I could feel blocks and energy shifting. And all this random information came through. This was the first time it came through like thick and fast. And I wrote it all down. And I finished the session and I thought, should I send this to this person? I didn't know this person. This was the first time I'd worked with this person. Should I send this information? And my guide came through. She was like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, I'm going to look stupid. You need to stop doing this and trust us, because if you don't trust us, we won't give you any more. So I typed out a message, sent the information, and everything that I put was absolutely right, from the way she was feeling, what she was going through, a decision that she needed to make. And they don't tell you what to do, but they give you guidance and possible outcomes for the decisions that you choose to make. And I've had lots and lots of testimonials now where I've known where people are at the time. So you'd imagine most people are sat in a chair or lying on a bed. I've known when people have been in the outdoors, where they've been and what they're doing, and recited exactly what they're doing and got it right. Other examples, so one of my clients has no interest in being in a relationship at all. She's happy doing her own thing, and I did a session and I did say, I see somebody coming into your life quite soon, but I get the sense that you don't trust this, it's not something that you want. And she was like, absolutely not. I said, it's coming through, you can't avoid it, it is coming through. Whatever you're doing, they're telling me you're manifesting the man that you want. He's going to tick every box. I think you already know him, but you haven't seen him in that light. This was 6 weeks ago. It happened. Wow. So it's like, you know, it's being validated now. Some of the things that I'm seeing are being validated.
Yeah. Do you remember that one where you there was a lady and something to do with going to school? You'll get the answers at the school, and you got names through.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Yes, I did. I got the name of somebody who went to that school and asked this person for help, and they will help you. And there was a problem at the school. This person did need help, and that validated that this person will help me, and I can go and get that help that I need. And there was another one that I did, and it was somebody who felt uncomfortable in social situations. And I sent the healing, and I said, I think you're going out on Saturday night. And she was like, am I? I went, yeah, with a group of people you don't really know. And she was like, oh, I won't do that. I went, you will. I went, you're going to say yes when you get invited. Anyway, a couple of days later, this was on the Sunday, it's the Wednesday, she's like, I'm going out on Saturday night with a group of people I've never met. I'm like, this is amazing. So I did a meditation on it, and I said, you're going to meet somebody, another lady, who you're going to have lots in common with, and you're going to really get on well. I said, and the name Charlotte has come up. I don't know if she's Charlotte, but that's quite prominently coming up. Anyway, she went out on the Saturday, messaged me on the Sunday. She had a brilliant time. She'd met this lady who'd lost her brother. My client had lost her sister. It was the first time she'd had somebody to understand her, to talk to, so they became very, very good friends within a couple of hours. As they were leaving the pub, they nearly got run over on Charlotte Mews. So the Charlotte name was relevant, but I just didn't know why. And she was like, yeah, we looked and recognised that the street we were on was Charlotte Mews. So Charlotte was relevant that night. Yeah. So sometimes it's not what you think it is. Sometimes it's not exactly what you think it is, but it's relevant, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And let's talk about the healing side of things as well, because, you know, it's all very good having the messages and give people guidance and things, but you've been doing some pretty powerful work. And I know we can't go into too much details, but just give us an overview of like,
So during the session, different angels step forward, different guides step forward for the individual. Sometimes it's my guides working with me, sometimes it's their guides, and it's different. Everybody has a different experience. And the healing, what they always do is they scan the body, and as they're doing it, I'm sort of like, my hands are moving independently, and I know where the blocks are, and I know what emotion is trapped there, and I know what they need to do to release it. And sometimes we can release it in that session just by, so I've started channeling light language. That happened a few weeks ago when it just popped into my head, and then I started doing it. And this light language, I can literally feel the energy releasing and dissolving. And examples I'll give, I've had clients struggling with confidence, and the confidence has been down to being worried about what other people think, worried about being judged harshly for what they do. We've done this angelic healing. They've woke up the next morning full of confidence, and then gone and spoken on stage and done things they never thought they would do, and put themselves out there. So they are literally dissolving some of these blocks to put people on that right path to stand in their power. Some of the blocks, they're making the client feel better, but there's a lesson to be learned. So they'll tell me what that lesson is, learn that lesson, release that block. And then they're healing then by taking that guidance on board and letting go of what they don't need anymore. And I can feel a release when it happens, especially in the heart space. I can feel it just open, and this release, it goes up and out. And clients have described the same sensations after the session as well. So they do feel rejuvenated, because a lot of the guides, they'll say rejuvenate, and then they'll do whatever they do. My hands are going all over. And I feel it too, because I get some of the healing in every session. They've told me I benefit too, which is like just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So obviously, you know, I know we've touched on a few things, but when you have these sessions, you're like, oh my God, this has just happened, and buzzing. So it's hard to like think about some of these now. But are we allowed to mention a little bit about, there's been a couple of times where people have been really quite poorly?
Oh yeah. So I can mention it, because I'm not mentioning names. So the first one was a friend I used to go to school with. We reconnected back in the summer, and she saw the video of me and Serena and the angelic healing, and she sent me a message the next day and said, one of my friends, her partner's had an accident, he's in hospital, it's not looking good, can you send it, do you need consent? And I said, well, you normally have to ask for consent. And she said, I don't know how I feel about telling them about you. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask my guides, and if it's for his greatest good and they give me permission, I will send this healing. We don't even need to tell them if it's okay with my guides. However, they might want to know, and they might want to take comfort from it. We'll play it by ear. So I connected, and it was like, it's for the greatest good. Of course you can. We will help you. And this was a very unusual experience for me, because this man, it was touch and go. It was thought that he wouldn't make it. He was on a ventilator. He was in a coma. So when I connected to his energy, I was taken to the in-between, which is in between life and death. And I was told he'd got a big decision to make. It wasn't too late, but it's his decision. And he was lost and confused to the point he'd closed himself off to his guides and he was just there in despair. So I connected to him and he allowed me to speak to him. And somebody stepped forward. I won't name, but I got a name. And I didn't know who this person was. And he was guiding him and he was really happy to see him. So I knew he knew him. And I made notes of everything that happened. And I kept sending healing every single day. So I started on the Friday, I think it was, I started the healing. On the Sunday, I got a message from my friends saying, I've told the family about you. They'd like to know what the messages are that have come. So nothing personal about him, but just validation of where he is. So I'd got names, I'd got different things that would validate that this healing is happening and he's got a decision to make. This is where he is. I can tell them that. So
did the family recognise the name that came through that you can't mention?
Yeah. Yeah. So I got in touch with the partner, explained what I'd done, and was expecting maybe some backlash or doubt or what because they're in grief, aren't they? They're wondering what's going on. But she didn't. She was open. And I said, what's come through is a man by this name who showed me a boat and the number 7. He's saying it wasn't Dan's fault. He's there with him now and is encouraging him to read a book called A Chaotic Mind, which there is a book. I Googled it later. There is a book called A Chaotic Mind, and it's to kind of find balance in your mind, in your life, and perceive things differently. So I sent it through, and this man who stepped forward for the person in hospital was his best friend who drowned in the River Severn 2 years previously. So the boat was what picked him up. The number 7 was the River Severn and the guy's name. And the lady was like, this validates everything to me.
Wow.
This is just unreal. So the day after, I'd been sending for 3 days, he was taken off the ventilator and the doctor said it's nothing short of a miracle. But I did say to his partner, he's very strong, he's full of strength. And the people who are supporting him, believe me, they're doing everything. But he does have a choice to make. It's up to him what choice he makes. And he's not quite there yet. But he came out of his coma on the Wednesday. She sent me a message and said, we watched a film on the iPad. He lip synced every word. He absolutely loved it. I know he's in there somewhere. And I sent healing that morning. I didn't know what the film was. And I'm sending the healing and the word maverick came through. And I got a feel for what maverick meant. I didn't think it was about the film. And I just sent what had come through and she went, maverick has meaning. Can you feel more into it? I went back in. My guides came forward, showed me a fighter jet, Tom Cruise. And then as they showed me Top Gun, I went, Top Gun, like this. And I'm like, is this right? Because if it's wrong, it's going to take away all the other ballot. They're like, stop doing this. Tell her, Top Gun. So I messaged her. I was like, you watched Top Gun yesterday. You really enjoyed it. And she was like, oh my God, Dawn, yeah. It's his favourite film. He wanted to be a fighter pilot. That was what we watched. And I'm like, oh, my goodness me. And he's doing really well. He's doing really well. Having physio and getting back on his feet and coming out the other end now.
Yeah.
Which is just unbelievable.
So what do we learn from this? Like this amazing ability that you've worked on and strengthened to this point, which is literally just intuition coming through to you and you trusting your trusting your I can't get the words out, processing this information that's coming through. Yes. And then you're verbalizing it out and being brave into the world, and then you're getting more and more. So you're literally transforming people's lives. I mean, that what you've just described is off the scale. That is off the chart. You know, when somebody's laid in hospital on a ventilator and it's touch and go, and there's absolutely nothing that any doctor can do to change the outcome.
Apart from he had to choose what he wanted to do, and the guides around him were reminding him of what is good about the world. But you've got free will; it's your choice. But this is what's good about the world, and showing him memories, which I shared, which were bang on as well, showing him memories of the times he'd had, full of joy. It was just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
What a gift to have.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy. And I know you've helped me so much over the
and you've helped me. You've got rid of that fear, because if I'd have had that fear, I would have pushed this away thinking everybody's going to think I'm mad, and I'd have gone down that route of doubt, which just doesn't exist for me anymore. It just doesn't exist at all. I did have another one that I'll share, which was quite unique. And this was from a client who asked if I could connect to somebody in spirit. Didn't tell me who it was, so I had no clue. And I like it to be that way because I like it to be authentic. And I said, I'm not sure if I can because I've not tried before. So I'm not going to give you any guarantee. All I'm going to guarantee is the angels will come through, you will receive healing, but I can't guarantee. So I set the intention when I went in, there is somebody here. If you are here, can you please step forward? They didn't step forward. They were lost and confused, closed off to the guides again, allowed me to approach. And it was just magical. I got the name, the favourite aftershave, the intention that had been set for him. And he was lost, confused, didn't know where he was supposed to go, and he crossed over. He actually went into the light to the healing place to receive what he needs now instead of being in limbo, which was just a magical thing to be a part of.
Yeah,
100%, and a nice confirmation to the family, to the person who wanted that contact. So yeah, I don't know if I can do it again, but I have done it, and it was magical, and it was for a reason. It was a spirit that needed help.
yeah.
So
You're only going to get more powerful, Dawn. You know this. You know this. It's like before you got this download for this. I know we were using different modalities we both were in our business, but they're quite long and drawn out and took up a lot of time and energy. And it's almost like you put the intention out there to your guides, because obviously it's been the school holidays. You've got 2 young boys having a time, and they've literally given you this download of this amazing modality that you can do on an evening. You don't even need to be on a Zoom video or anything. You don't need to think about that. You can literally do it in your own time. Send the energy. It's a way to generate you wealth as well, because let's face it, it's an energy exchange you need to live, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't believe it because I asked for that. I was like, I can't work, and I hate not working because I love what I do. I'd love to be able to do something still. And it was like, there you go, have this. I'm like, because I wasn't going to run with it, was I? I was like, oh, this is happening now. And you're like, well, why aren't you offering it? I'm like, I can't, because what, stop it. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. And I went with it. And I've done about 50 angelic healing sessions in 3 weeks. Like over that 3-week period from August, I've done around 50. Yeah, which is just amazing. And I'm so grateful that people have trusted me and signed up and allowed me to do that work.
Doesn't it, how your life can just up level and just transform and just become completely magical and in alignment. Like everything that just happens, it's just mind-blowing. I think to explain to people that are open to this, they just think it's all made up, but you've just got to step into it and then watch the miracles unfold in your own life. And then it's crazy, it's mind-blowing. So what I want to just talk about quickly as well is, what I want to just focus on first is, you got that download, right, from the guides. The guides told you this is from the higher realm. So many people in this community, like working and stepping into the healing space, knowing that they're in tune with the guides, but their mind is still telling them that they have to seek that external validation. They have to get an accreditation. They have to go and get training to do what they do. They need to go tick the boxes, because in the 3D world we live in, this is the system.
What we do.
But it's like, for me, it's like...
I was like that. I was like, I need to learn angelic Reiki. I need to learn this to be able to do this. And they're like, do you know what they said to me? This is what they said to me, and this is amazing, and I'm going to share it. So I'm like, do I need to learn it? I need to get a qualification. What human can teach you what we can teach you? And I'm like, do you know what? You've got a point. They went, you've got us. You have got us. We have got you. You don't need that validation. You have got us. That was it for me.
I said the same to one of my friends who's got a download of like exactly what needs to happen and what she needs to create. But there was other people that she was looking to, like coaches and different things. And I'm like, you think that their opinion is like above their opinion? No. And for them, that was like penny dropped. Actually, no, I don't need a person to tick a box that I'm accredited or I'm qualified to do this, because this is an incredible gift what I can transform people's lives. It's supernatural, of course it's supernatural, but it's
working,
powerful, you know?
And it's working. And I wouldn't have the testimonials if it was allowed. If it wasn't working, people wouldn't want to spend the money and then lie that it was so amazing. It would be, I want my money back.
So, it's amazing. Your testimonials, like every single day, I'm just mind blown. It's amazing. So
I've been mind blown by some of them. I'm like, really?
So I want to talk as well. I want to go back to Beyond the Veil, because
Yeah,
this is a modality that Serena's created, and
yeah,
I mean, not she's got the download for it, and she's brought it
yes.
to the world.
Brought it into
And
the
it is,
world.
again, it is something that's completely downloaded from spirit to help us to connect to them and
Yeah,
help us to build that relationship and that trust and that guide, so we can get our own guidance. And
yes.
both of us have been on this journey, and now Serena's like put this out there to the world
Amazing.
to train other people to become facilitators so that we can help other people to do the same. Obviously,
Yes.
it was we've both signed up.
Straight away. Absolutely. Yeah.
But like, again, you know, for anybody who's curious, or you know, you might already have connections with guides, you might be open to the idea that guides are out there, and the angels are there and they're all here to help you. But for me, the experience of going beyond the veil, particularly because my first one was, I weren't receiving messages, I weren't getting the images, I weren't getting, you know, what I
Remember.
thought. I mean, I was expecting somebody to go, Laura, this is God, I
Yeah.
need you to do
Yes.
this. And I
And
was
it's not.
no. And but what I can say, for me, my experience, the feeling that came through my body was like there was no doubt left in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, if there was any doubt that there's nothing out there, there was no doubt. I was like,
Good.
holy fuck, what did I just experience?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
when you look at a
It is.
video testimonials, and we've seen a video where she's done, it's like, it's not just my experience and your experience, like everybody who goes
Lot.
to the veil, it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is
Yeah. And a
mental.
lot of people have been activated,
Yeah,
not just me. People are being activated, stepping into their gifts, coming up with their own modalities. It is the catalyst, I believe, to a spiritual awakening. It
yeah,
really, really is, because whatever happens there is just mind blowing and life changing.
yeah. And when we say activated, I think to put that into sort of a human
Yes.
sense, we've got so many strands of DNA. I don't know how many strands we're supposed to have of DNA, but I think we're supposed to have like 12 strands of DNA, I think. I'm not a scientist, I don't know. But you know, we only use like a tiny proportion of our brains, don't we? But to be activated, we get activated, different parts of our brain start working, different strands of DNA, we get different gifts, we get different healing modalities, channeling, we get to sense and see different things. And it's all of this, when we start
But
to
it is.
do this, then we literally become like superhuman in, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
for want of a better sense, like exactly what Dawn's doing there. She's channeling healing energy to help some dude in a hospital recover, and she knows what freaking film he's watching. I mean, that's what?
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
In what world is it
Absolutely.
normal? It's not normal, is it? And that's why,
And it's not a coincidence, is it? Because how many films are out there?
yeah.
You know.
You used to say to me, Laura, I can't tell anybody else what I'm about to tell you. They think I was tapped, because the conversation we've just had now is pretty mellow, isn't it, compared to
Oh
some
gosh, yeah.
conversations? So
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to do another video with you where we can maybe go a bit deeper on some of these topics.
Definitely.
But I think we
Definitely.
just want to bring it back to going beyond the veil, because if anyone's interested, this was a turning point for both of us, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not just the modality, Serena.
Oh yeah,
Working with Serena, she is so knowledgeable.
yeah,
She's so connected. She shares her wisdom. I just can't thank her enough, because
yeah,
her guidance and support, as well as yours, Laura, the two of you together, your guidance and support, I actually believe in myself to a point where I never have before. There's always been that doubt. Doubt does not exist for me now. It's gone. And
I
it
love
just feels amazing.
you. I
And
love
I used to be scared of dying. I can laugh at myself now. All my life up until now, I've been scared of dying, convinced. Even though I've always been spiritual. I've always been a little bit religious, not following it and going to church. But I've always thought, what if there isn't anything there? What if that's it? And I used to get so worked up about it. And then having children later in life, what when something happens to me, all this worry and fear, I am no longer afraid. And that was the biggest fear I've lived with up until the age of 44. So seriously, to be free of fear and doubt is the biggest gift anybody can give to themselves, because that's
yeah,
what you're going to get
yeah.
when you open up and you go beyond and you deepen that connection and you
And
feel that presence and you feel that love. You can't possibly live in that fear and doubt anymore.
no, No, because it's like nothing else. It just puts this life, this existence into perspective.
It really does.
Is
It
somebody talking
opens
to
your
you
mind.
there?
Yeah. Oh, is something wrong with me?
No, I was going to say, were you just channeling something there?
A little bit, but it went straight away. I don't know what I was getting something, and it was about Beyond the Veil. But sometimes if I don't get it when it comes, it goes.
All right, give yourself a second, see if it comes back.
No, they're just saying they're here, we're here, which is lovely. But they were saying something, but I completely missed it because I was thinking of something else. There's something coming, but I need to.
No, take time, because it'd be nice. I wonder if they've got a message before we finish the video.
And it is something to do with Beyond the Veil. Bear with me.
Just take some breaths and take your time.
It's the same as what they always keep saying. Yeah, collaboration is key. So it's about sharing gifts, collaborating together, and realizing there is no competition. And to look at the bigger perspective there, Serena's created something absolutely amazing, and she's training people to do it. That is just generous, kind, very giving, because some people, they guard things with their life. They guard it. It's mine, and it's about that collaboration, that trust, and that bigger picture, because the message I'm getting loud and clear is together we will rise. And that's that trust, that working together, that teamwork, that promoting each other, validating each other. And they've always said to me, you're nobody, not in a nasty way, but your name doesn't matter. It's not about who you are, it's about what you do and what you bring. And that's what we will celebrate. And I embrace that now, because I found out what I am and where I'm from. I went through every single light being, galactic being, and it was a no. And I'm thinking, what am I? They confirmed what I am and where I'm from, source. And I forgot what I was saying now because they keep coming through. They're laughing at me. What did they say to me? I can't remember. No, they're playing with me now. I'm really, really sorry.
Don't apologise. Don't apologise. It's fascinating.
What was it that I was getting at there? They told me where I was from. I can't remember. They're completely messing with me now.
That's
so
fine.
That means I'm probably going to get a big download later, because when my mind goes blank like this when I'm talking, it's normally something's coming through.
Yeah,
which sounds mad, but
I think just to touch on what you were saying there about collaboration, I think especially in the spiritual community, there's people that are bringing spiritual gifts, but then they're putting their business before the greater good of everybody else, you know. Genuinely, right. The people that I'm connecting with, you're connecting with, or collaborating with, we genuinely want to help uplift humanity. You know, the money side of it, the business side of it, that
comes with it, hand in hand. Yeah, but I've remembered my point. My point was, I found out where my source, and I'm like, so what was my name? They have refused to give me a name, because that's how unimportant it is. Your name does not matter. It is what you do and what you bring. You matter. Your name does not. It's what you do and what you bring. So it's not chasing fame and fortune. It's the greatest good.
Yeah.
And that's what we're in it for. That's what Serena's in it for. Laura's in it for. It's for the greatest good. That was my point. I think they were trying to hide my name from me. I think I nearly got my name then. And it was like, whoosh, they will not give me my name, but there we go.
Oh. Do you think they've got any message for anybody watching this video?
The main message that I've been getting now for the last 2 weeks is we all rise together. The other message is to open your heart, and I know what that means now. So your heart is your second brain, and most of our hearts are protected by a wall of emotions that we've gathered throughout our lives to protect our most vulnerable organ, to connect and go within, to connect to your team, your higher self. This needs to be open. And the way that you open it is to breathe unconditional love into that space. Tell your heart that you love and trust it, and convince your subconscious that you no longer need to keep it in a cage. It can be free, because we are safe and we are loved and we are divinely guided. And I will be sharing a technique later down the line that helps you to open your heart and connect and bring in, because this is where they connect with you. They come in through your heart. This is the connection. So that is really, really important. And be kind to yourself, love yourself, because if you don't do that, this here closes right down. Be kind to yourself and appreciate who you are, and this will open because it will feel safe and it will feel loved, if that makes sense. But that is the biggest thing they've given me, and it's this open your heart.
And whatever that feels like, when if you're not used to tuning into your heart, just focus on it. And like Dawn says, just breathe as though you're breathing love into that heart, and whatever it feels like, just forgive it. You know, there's going to be loads of emotions. You've got a lifetime of crap that's been protecting your heart, but just notice them, forgive them, throw love into them. Let your heart, tell your heart, talk to it like it's a separate entity. You are safe. It's safe. You're okay. I love you. I thank you. I appreciate you. And look in the mirror. Look in the mirror on a morning and say, Laura, I love you. Yeah, we don't know how to love ourselves. We're never taught how to love ourselves. We need to learn to love ourselves to help our heart to open as well. So that's a task for everybody watching this. Wake up tomorrow morning, look in your worst, get in that mirror and sit there and see if you can say that to yourself. I love you, name, whatever you're called. Tell yourself that you love you, and just until that becomes comfortable, and then you're on your journey to sort of self-healing that and getting that love opened.
Definitely it is. Yeah, magical it is. When you do it and you focus on your heart, you'll feel eventually within a few days, if you do it daily, when you take a deep breath, it'll be the biggest breath you've ever taken. Like, you will expand so much and you feel it. So it's tangible. You can test this. You will feel it open.
It's just an energy. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it.
Right, well, I hope everybody has enjoyed watching this video. If you have, I would love you to like, share and subscribe to whichever channel you're watching it on, and I'll put all Dawn's links in the description. So if you would like to try the amazing angel healing, then you'll be able to connect with Dawn as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
And hopefully you'll see us again on a video soon. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.